1, 2, 3. Welcome back. As though I was gonna say 4, but that's when we say welcome back.
All right, I got you.
1, 2, 3. Welcome back to weekend 7.
1, 2, 3, funk it.
What are we doing this weekend?
This weekend we are doing framing. We're gonna start framing out the floors for the subflooring. We're framing out the walls around all the windows. We're framing out the ceiling. We're getting ready for the meat and potatoes of the build, and I'm very, very excited. Alright guys, we are getting into some framing, about finished with framing out the walls of the bus. And I just kind of wanted to take you through how I've been going about framing it. So the bus isn't always going to be perfectly level, which is why I'm not going by levels and squares. I'm actually just wanting to make sure that my studs are perfectly centered to the previous studs already. Also, to make sure all of this is flush. Basically, the entire way down. This is going to go in a little bit more. We still have to notch that out a little bit. But I just want to make sure that it's flush all the way down, because we're not going to be putting a stud over this channel right here. We're actually going to be using this channel as a wiring chase to run wires, to run pipe through, because it's just kind of perfect that this is already here for us as a kind of way to secure our wire and piping too. So most people will put like a 1x over top of this. We're actually just leaving it open as a chase, and then our walls will just go right over top of it. Just how I've been making my little marks in my wall studs here for the center, we're doing the same with our 2x3s. Basically our 2x3 is 2.5 inches long. That means I'm going to be marking the center at 1.25 inches. Finding that center, and I've already found the center of these studs right here, so I'm making sure that everything is, I'm gonna be able to find those studs and drill into them accurately.
And what he's not showing you is what Shay had to do. Make these little holes, because there's rivets and you don't want to get rid of your rivets. So instead of having it be all bumpy, we just cut out little holes, hundreds of little holes.
So we also ran into a little bit of an issue because we initially started with 2x3s, which Home Depot doesn't even sell 2x3s. What's up with that?
Home Depot.
We don't have 2x3s. Anyway, so we were getting all of our 2x3s at Lowe's. And we wanted to go with 2x3s because we don't need to use 2x4s. You know, it's just going to take up a lot more space on these studs and obviously more weight. We're trying to stay very weight efficient and mindful of the weight of the
We're
bus.
weight conscious.
Weight conscious, exactly. So, but we actually ran out of 2x3s because
We bought them all.
we took all of Liz's 2x3s. Still don't have any.
Yeah.
So what we actually had to start doing is we went and bought these 2x4s here, same thickness as 2x3s. So Miss Shay has just been splitting our 2x4s in half, and we've been using just kind of improvising with a split in half 2x4, but we're still achieving the same thing with this. We're using Tex self-tapping screws. We got 2 3/4 inch screws here.
Well, let's see. It's these self-drilling screws, wood to metal.
Right.
And you did want a shorter one, but they just didn't have that option. So
Yeah,
if your
yeah.
department store has a shorter one, you could, but we didn't have that option, so we had to go with these lengthy 2 3/4 inch screws.
And you have to use self-tapping screws because if you can see, they're not really
Put your hand behind it.
They're not really designed.
Ooh, YouTuber.
They're not really designed like a regular screw with a regular screw point. They're designed to run through metal and screw through metal. So just like we're doing the side framing, we're doing it basically the same. It's just with a little bit different wood. We're using furring strips for the ceiling rather than our 2x3s or 2x4s on this side. That way we don't take as much height away from the buses, and we already have a good bit of space between the exterior of the bus and the interior. Another reason why we're using some thinner wood is so that we can kind of mold it to the arc of the roof. And these are a little bit more pliable, a little bit more flexible. So as you can see here, we can kind of mold it to fit that slight arc of the roof. You can't really do that with 2x4s or 2x3s. Furring strips are perfect for that. So we're using a little bit shorter screws with these as well. I think they're 1 5/8 rather than the 2 3/4 inch for the side panels, because again, the wood's thinner, so we don't have to use longer screws. And the shorter screws you can get away with, the better, because you want your screws as far away from the exterior of the bus as possible because of that thermal transfer. We put a lot of emphasis into that. If you don't want drippy ceilings, screws dripping and collecting condensation and stuff like that.
Yeah, thermal bridging is a hard thing to explain, but it's very important, and we're being very mindful of that throughout the whole build, huh?
Absolutely. But yeah, these screws here are really only gonna go, you know, that far into the stud.
Let's see how it's done. Okay, and what you guys don't see that I'm gonna tell you, drilling into this metal, it sends out like hot pieces of metal, and it's kind of sketchy. This is my favorite one. Watch this one, y'all. Oh yeah, that's so satisfying, and now it's nice and curved. You can see here. We're doing 5 screws on each one. There's 19 of these. And we're getting there. We're almost done. Great job, baby.
Almost there.
And there we have it. End of weekend 8. So crazy. We're already on weekend 8. Paul says that we are still going to add another strip right here and right here, kind of matching these two, but on the sides. But to be honest, both of our wrists are giving out because of how difficult it is to get these into the metal. Like, it takes a lot of strength. So it's 6:30 here on a Sunday evening, and we just decided to clean up and wrap up, come back next weekend, put up the next 2 strips, and then hopefully next weekend the goal is also to frame out this back section here, which this is going to be a lot of framing, so that should be a fun little process. And then we are also going to try next weekend to frame out the front here, which hopefully won't be as difficult as the back. And then of course, after we get all that done, hopefully we'll also have time to do the subflooring next weekend and lay that out, which will be very fun. So that's all that you can look forward to in next week's video. And we'll see you next weekend. Psych. Okay, not the end of the video yet. I actually want to throw it back to weekend 6, which was Easter weekend. So we didn't have much time at the bus, but I didn't just want to not include it. So here's a peek at weekend 6 where we sealed all the windows. This is what we're up to today. As you can see here, we are caulking and sealing the windows. That's my chair, Paul's chair, and we're just up here.
Heavy duty stuff.
Yep, we're using Flex Seal. And we decided against taking out all the windows. Some people in their Skoolie conversions, they do take the time to take out all the windows and everything like that, but we're just deciding to seal them all up from the outside. You can see on this window here, nice line of caulk. This window here still needs to be done. We're doing up the sides, and then on the windows, like this window that's shut, these are the windows that we're not keeping, so we will also be caulking at the top of them, and I also put a strip of caulk before I shut it, so it'll be nice and sealed. Ooh, in action.
Oh yes. What are you wondering about?
Wow, this lollipop is so damn good. I'm wondering if we should put caulk on the bottom of the windows too. What do you think?
I don't think it'll be an issue if we don't do that lip, just because there's this little bit of window return here and there's a lip underneath it. I don't think we need to caulk that.
Look sealed still.
They're still pretty well sealed, so I'm not terribly worried about it. As you can see, we have our junkyard going back here. How beautiful is that? My goodness. We just have so much junk. We're gonna have to take it to the scrap yard, scrap some of this stuff.
Trying to reuse it as much as we can too, but yeah, we'll have to scrap a lot of it. Maybe get some extra dollars.
Yeah, we'll probably try to repurpose some of it, and the rest, we might get a few $100 to put back into the bus.
We'll see.
Got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, all right. Peace. Wait, where is it? This way? There we go. Peace.